Now I'm going to read you a piece of my children's fantasy book. I haven't done this before in front of a camera, so if I make a few mistakes, you'll just have to excuse me and take me as I am. So I'll be looking down at the page and not looking at the screen. So okay. The scene is in an isolated farmhouse in County Wicklow, and the three characters in this scene are Auntie Florrie Armchair, who's very kind and lovely, Mlle Josephine Chaise-Longue, who's terribly haughty because she was made for Queen Marie Antoinette in France, and my God, does she not let people forget it. And then there's a scheming brass tray who was made for the Sultan of Turkey. The two of them really hate each other. Well, hate is probably too strong a word. Anyway, here we go. Auntie Florrie starts off the conversation. You two haven't stopped arguing since you arrived yesterday. Besma Bastry, I'm bored. Bored? This farmhouse is too small and dreary. It is indeed, compared to where I lived. The Palace of Versailles was enormous, absolutely enormous. Versailles. Pah. Versailles was no bigger than a gardener's shed compared to the palace I lived in Istanbul. A gardener's shed? What? I can't imagine. Versailles was vast, and the people who lived there were much more civilized than the savages in your wretched country. Enough. Both of you. Your constant arguments try giving me a headache. Well, I suppose it is peaceful here after all I've been through. It may suit you, snotty nose, said Besma, but it's too peaceful for me, and like you, I've had an exciting life. I'll have you know, ma vie est très exciting too, and a dangerous one as well. How did you two happen to come here, anyway? Josephine? Josephine? My name is Mlle Josephine Chaise-Longue, madame. All right, all right. Now, would you mind telling me why you're here? Why her, not me? Because I was made specially for Queen Marie Antoinette of France, that's why. I was made for the Sultan of Turkey. He was much more than your Queen Timimjig. Do you have a tray called after you? No. Do you have whatever you're called after you? I'm Marie Antoinette Chaise-Longue. I'm famous throughout the world. Really? We had things that sort who look like you, but were very much more splendid. They were made of carved wood inlaid with ivory and gold and covered with colourful silks from China and brocade from India. They were luscious. Too gaudy for my queen. She liked me because I'm slim and elegant. Balderdash. You'd be too drab for my sultan. Drab? Besma, manners, please. She started it. Non moi. That one over there is the one who always starts it. Enough. Now, Josephine. Sorry. Mlle Josephine Chaise-Longue, do tell us your story. Let's hope it won't be too long. Our lives changed so suddenly. We were spending a quiet afternoon, the Queen and I. She was reclining gracefully on me, eating cake. Oh, how she adored cake. She must have been as big as a hippopotamus if she ate cake all day. My queen was as slim and as elegant as me. Pah! Besma, I'll warn you. I'll not warn you again. Go on, mademoiselle. Where was I? Queenie was stuffing her gob with cake. Oh, yes. We thought it was going to be a nice, quiet afternoon when all of a sudden there was no more cake. Besma? When all of a sudden we heard shouting, before we knew it, a bloodthirsty mob of women had broken into the palace, was storming up the staircase towards our room. Good gracious, why did they do that? They wanted some cake too. Besma? Mademoiselle, please. I don't know. My queen and I were as one, quivering with fright as the screams got closer. C'est terrible. C'était terrible. Absolument, c'était terrible. Go on. What happened? Did they break down the door and run off with all the cake? Besma, leave her be. Can't you see she's upset? Upset my hat. I want to know what happened next. We looked around for a way of escape, but there was nowhere. My queen tried to hide under me, but I was too close to the ground. We thought to barricade the great doors, but we were alone. The service had disappeared into thin air. At last the mob smashed down the doors and stormed into the room. There were so many, I couldn't make out a single one at first. Here's the queen, a very ugly woman, wearing a funny-shaped hat, ran towards us. My queen tried to resist, but they dragged her off me. What will they do to me? Someone asked. Lock her up. The hideous creature in the funny hat, who seemed to be the leader, shouted, Mon Dieu! It was terrible. The mob dragged her out of the room, and I never saw again. Oh, ma pauvre reine. Where did she come in? Auntie Florrie. Reine is the French for French. What happened to the poor dear queen? They cut off her head, from what I heard in the Sultan's palace. They didn't. They did. I hope they didn't do anything awful to you, mademoiselle. Oui, they did. Serves you right for keeping all the cake to yourselves. Anyway, what did they do to you? So that's the end of what I read today. I hope I didn't read it too badly. So anyway, I'll read another little bit tomorrow. Cheers. Bye.